What's a normal thing that makes you strangely sad? I thrift books a lot. And it always makes me so sad to see ones that are signed from a relative with things like, "I loved this and thought of you. I hope you like it. Mom." Makes me wonder why they got rid of it. If they ever read it. Seeing everyone I know move on in life with little to no trouble. I'm happy for them, but it makes me kinda sad that I'm not where I should be. Throwing away things that have been with you a long time and broke. Electronics, shoes, clothes. I can't bring myself to throw away a fucking t-shirt because it's like a nice t-shirt and I wore it a lot and now it has holes and is unusable, but I keep dragging it out. I threw out shoes and had to mentally prepare for that. These things carried me for literal miles and miles and here I am just putting them in the garbage. Fuck that so much. People falling out, especially long-term friends. I know it's a part of being human. And that not everyone gets along all the time. But it hurts watching relationships crumble in just a second. Finding photos. Every now and then I'll buy a secondhand book and someone will have slipped a photo inside. I assume either for safekeeping or to use as a bookmark. They're never super old photos. And they never seem super precious. But that person in the photo is a person. You know, sometime in the past, someone decided that the sight of that smiling little kid at the foot of a slide on a summer's day was something they wanted a memory of. Maybe that kid's still out there somewhere. Maybe he grew up and he's about my age. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he's an asshole. I don't know, but someone wanted a picture of him. And now they don't have that picture anymore. And what do you even do with a photo? You can't throw it out. Because that seems rude. You can't return the photo to the owner with a, "Here, you forgot this," because you don't know who they are. So you keep it inside the book it came in. Waiting until the day you forget it's there and have a clear out and the book goes back to a charity shop, maybe hundreds of miles away. If you've moved house in the interim, and the whole process can start again. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. When an old person is walking around alone. Makes me wonder if they have anybody in their life. When I see a business, like a restaurant or a shop, that is completely empty with no customers in it, I think about all the work and investment that went into setting up the business and feel so bad for the owners when they don't get any attention. Don't know why that makes me feel so sad. Watching old videos of me when I was a kid. I just feel like I'm so old now. I'm not. And time just won't slow down. A shopping street with a lot of permanently closed stores. Seeing all my friends posting pics of their families and kids on social media. I don't necessarily want kids. I'm not sure I even want a spouse. But sometimes seeing it all fills me with a strange sadness. I think so much of it is growing up it was something expected of me, not a desire. So I feel I'm letting my family down or something. Dunno. The passage of time. When a good book series ends, I feel like I'm losing friends. When people cut down a perfectly healthy tree in their yard. Songs with happy lyrics. But the music itself sounds slow and sad. When I see a kid clutching a stuffed animal. My brain sometimes gets sad thinking about what they would feel if they lost that stuffed animal. I saw a picture of a Joey, baby kangaroo, in Australia that was given a teddy bear during rescue efforts and he was seen in the wild weeks later still hanging onto the bear. I almost cried at that because I feel that inevitably one day he will lose his teddy bear and not understand why it's gone. Seeing any picture of my daughter when she was young. She's so adorable, but it makes me realize how fast the time flies and that I can never go back to those moments. Listening to music from a few years ago. It reminds me of the times I was a kid. Seeing the empty space on the couch. Reminds me of all the people who I used to see. Now no longer in my life. Anytime somebody spends their fun money on something that somehow turns poorly for them. Anything from seeing a coffee or ice cream that's fallen on the sidewalk, or a child's toy breaking. There's even a moment in sports when the visiting team wins where my mind goes to the home fans. Especially families, who spent a good amount to be there and are leaving disappointed. Growing up, we rarely struggled to make ends meet, but there was a very limited, fun budget after providing for necessities. So when I see someone drop their ice cream, or break their phone, or get a mess on a nice shirt that they were being careful to keep clean, I get a little twinge of déjà vu. Thinking back to when I was young and dropping my ice cream or breaking a toy meant I was just out of luck. A film ending. If I watch a film I'm sad for the rest of the day because it's over. Seeing a creature with low IQ punished that doesn't understand it is being punished or why. The normality of emotionally abusing children. It has devastating and real consequences, and just because it is common doesn't mean it shouldn't be stopped. Seeing other people my age in relationships. The beauty of nature. The world is so beautiful and we get to spend so little time just enjoying it. When in movies they waste food. Like I remember one scene where they were having dinner and somebody threw the plate very dramatically and all the pasta spilled everywhere. I always think, someone spent time cooking this. What a shame. See? When movies end. Now it's back to this barrel of shite. Mentally slow people. I don't mean like an insult, but people who are really, truly medically retarded, like a 5-year-old in a 60-year-old body. That shit just breaks my heart every time. Really weird thing, but it makes me sad seeing things in stores like Goodwill that I know people probably haven't touched in ages. I saw a Fantastic Four action figure a few months back from the 2005 movie, and seeing that just made me feel empty. IDK. Social media. It's normalized, I suppose. But I work at a marketing job for a mid-market retail website. It's amazing to me that even on a simple Facebook ad for some Nike footwear, the conversation can degrade into such vitriol without much effort. It just makes me sad to see, and I have to see it for my job pretty much every day. Seeing a lonely and awkward kid in the class. I always think of what they might be in the future, being too awkward for people to be friends with and ending up eating alone for the rest of her life. Balloons being released or lost. It's why I hate helium balloons. Kids being all happy with their friends. I'm always so sad to think that one day, they'll start getting hurt by other people for no good reason. When they all start as pals. Obese animals. Makes me feel like we're doing something very wrong besides the obvious. North American indigenous peoples drumming, dancing and music. In person. I've been to several events that have showcased indigenous singing and dancing, and I can't even explain why it brings tears to my eyes and makes me very emotional. Edit. I guess I would add that anytime I see a NZ Haka online, that also makes me emotional. Parents who disregard or even get angry at their kids asking questions. They are looking up to their parent as someone to learn from that they respect. And some parents just get annoyed and want their kids to leave them alone so they can watch TV or be on their phone. When you see an old person shuffling along with their old dog. I always wonder which will go first. Leaving the other alone. Sad now. The fact that I'll never live the dream life, I'll never get the beautiful mansion or fancy car or the high-paying job, and it's the same case most of the world, so it's pretty normal, but it's still really sad. Seeing anything that's very cute. Minecraft music. The other day I straight up started crying my eyes out when the music came on while I was playing. Whenever I hear it, I just begin to remember the good old days of just playing Minecraft with my dad and brother. Watching Sky Does Minecraft and Stampy Longnose. Unaware of everything that is wrong with the world. I miss the innocence, and hearing the music from the game just triggers those emotions in me. When I make a really nice cup of tea and go to take the final sip only to realize I had drank it all. Death. It's a strange sadness unlike any other I feel. When I was just starting kindergarten, my mother would wake me up for school by singing the chorus to "You Are My Sunshine." She meant well. But even without knowing the rest of the lyrics, it's one of the saddest fucking songs ever written. My mother is a bottomless well of emotional need who never got enough love and support, and all that song ever sounded like to me was, "I'm counting on you as my only source of happiness. But deep down we both know you'll eventually leave." Years later, when I was going through a severe depression as a teenager, she gave me a copy of Love You Forever, with my name written in place of the child's. There's probably a German word for the mixture of horror and sadness that inspired, but I don't know what it is. My children getting bigger. One day I wake up and look at my 7-month-old and suddenly see his hands are so much bigger. Or he overnight grasps how to crawl and takes off exploring. Or to see my 5-year-old. Hearing her personality blossom in the way she speaks. Suddenly her hair is finally long enough for her first haircut. I swore to myself I'd pay close attention while I was home with my babies. Yet it still slips away from me. Whales don't die of old age. They drown. Older people going out to eat and sitting alone. Hearing about people in happy relationships. Growing up and seeing everything change ever so slightly. Sometimes I wish I could just freeze time and keep everything exactly the way it is. People adopting animals because their previous ones passed away. Hits me on a deep personal level and one of my reasons to work at the local shelter once this pandemic settles. Going shopping reminds me of the vastness and complexity of industrialization and my comparative insignificance and ignorance. My wife hates taking me to the mall. Drive by a cemetery. Sunsets. They just feel sad. When my depression flares up, they literally make me cry. I think it's just the sense of an ending. Malls. Now specifically malls in communities of less than 250k people. They're a slowly dying thing. Seeing stuffed animals in charity shops. I used to think it was nice they would get a new home with a child that loves them. Then I found out my sister buys them from charity shops to give to her Malamute husky. He tears them to pieces. Literal pieces. Now if I see a stuffed animal in a charity shop window, I wonder if they'll end up with an Andy or a Sid. The fact that so many people need to watch YouTube, Netflix, movies while getting ready for bed or falling asleep because deep down they feel lonely and can't bear the silence reminding them in the dark.